Good afternoon, Bay Nation. Welcome to another episode of Fantasy Bay. I'm your host, Mike Williams, and here's my co-host, Geoffrey.
Good afternoon, Bay Nation.
Today, we're going to be going over waiver wires for Week 6. This is an important one. We've had a lot of injuries, and a lot of your teams have been affected. But before we get started, I would like to say congratulations to the LA Lakers. LeBron gets his 4th chip.
Excuse me.
What's that, Geoffrey?
How long have you been a Lakers fan, sir? It kind of seems like you may be what they call a bandwagoner.
I'm not a Lakers fan.
Then why are you wearing a Lakers jersey?
Why am I wearing this?
Why would you own a Lakers jersey if you are not a Lakers fan?
If you know me, Geoffrey, as I thought you did, I am a huge Kobe Bryant fan. Kobe Bryant has affected my life a lot. I love not just the killer mentality, but the Mamba mentality. I think that it's driven me to do pretty much all the things that I'm very passionate about, including this YouTube channel. When I started doing Fantasy Bay, like in my back of my mind, it is what would Mamba do? I put every single piece of myself into what I love. And that's what Kobe did. Kobe was a mentor to me. I've never met him, spoken to him, but just the way he lived his life, the passion, the dedication, the focus, it's something to be admired by. And Kobe Bryant was a Laker fan among all of the other Laker fans. Kobe would have wanted the Lakers to win after his tragic death. I just wanted what Kobe would have wanted. So I'm happy that LeBron won it in honor of Kobe and Gigi, and I'm really happy about it. I know that he'd really appreciate it. All right. I know that you didn't come here for any NBA information. I never actually spoke about the whole Kobe situation on my YouTube channel, mainly because I couldn't stop crying after it happened, so I didn't feel like it would be appropriate for me to just be blubbering nonstop, but enough time has passed to where I can get out a couple sentences without tearing up the entire time. And on that note, let's start with the waiver wire. All right, Geoffrey, let's get it started. We're going to start now at the running back position, and at the top of the list has to be Alexander Mattison. Alexander Mattison is the backup to Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook got dinged up with what looked like a groin injury. And if he misses any time, Alexander Mattison is going to be an absolute beast. Easy top 12 play every week until Dalvin Cook gets back. Christian McCaffrey went down. Mike Davis has been carrying people for weeks. It doesn't matter that Christian McCaffrey is going to come back in a week or two. You had 4 weeks of Mike Davis doing work for your team. That's the important part. Just like in this situation. Let's say Dalvin Cook misses 3 games. That's 3 games of elite play you can get out of a waiver wire pickup. So grab Alexander Mattison. Next, Chase Edmonds, I think, is a great pickup. He's been playing very well. He's splitting touches with Kenyon Drake, and I think that he's a viable play. Next, we have Justin Jackson. Him and Joshua Kelly seems to be sharing the load for the Chargers backfield, and I think that he actually is a very solid pickup for this week and moving forward. Next on my list, Damian Harris and J.D. McKissic. I think these are both fine pickups. Damian Harris wasn't very involved in the passing game. I don't really trust Patriots running backs. But I think that if you're desperate and you need someone, Damian Harris could be out there. And J.D. McKissic seems like he's going to get some work now that Kyle Allen is in the picture as the quarterback for the team. And I think that's going to do it for the running backs. On to the wide receivers. All right, now we're on to the wide receiver position. And first, I'm going to go over Chase Claypool. He went absolutely nuts this week. If you don't know who he is a wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And with Deontay Johnson going down with a back injury, we do not know how long he's going to be out. And Chase Claypool looked absolutely amazing. Even when Deontay Johnson gets back, I do believe he will still have a good role in this offense. Next, we have T. Higgins. T. Higgins might be owned in a lot of your leagues, but I have seen him on the waiver wire, so scoop him up if you can. AJ Green just got dinged up with a hamstring injury. Next, we have Alshon Jeffrey. I think Alshon Jeffrey is coming back this week. I believe he was held out last week due to a stomach issue. They need weapons in Philadelphia, for sure. So I think that he's going to be a great addition. Next, LaVista Shenault Jr. He's a wide receiver for the Jaguars. With the main wide receiver, DJ Chark, going down, I believe that LaVista Shenault should step up into a solid role. And also, he looked pretty good last week. Next is Emmanuel Sanders. Emmanuel Sanders looked absolutely amazing. 12 receptions, over 100 yards. Clearly, him and Drew Brees are getting on the same page. I love it. Even when Michael Thomas comes back, I believe Emmanuel Sanders will be a very viable play. I definitely think you should pick him up. I've seen him on a decent amount of waivers. Next, Preston Williams, wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins, has been playing really solid this last week. He's a good add. And Mike Williams, who probably should be higher up on my list, looks absolutely amazing. And with Keenan Allen getting injured, definitely think you should pick him up. I'm not sure how long Keenan Allen's injury is going to last, but Mike Williams looked fantastic. Also, another couple wide receivers to look out for to see if they're on your waiver wire. Henry Ruggs was dropped in a lot of leagues. Check him out. He looked great last week. And MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. They were on a bye last week, and a lot of people dropped people on bye. So I think that he's a great add as well. I do think that Devontae Adams should be coming back, but if he doesn't, and even if he does, Aaron Rodgers is going to need a solid number 2. And I like the tight end there, but I think they need another wide receiver as well. Another player you should check to see if it's on your waiver wire, Brandon Cooks. He's been dropped in a lot of places, and he looked absolutely amazing. So pick him up if he's still out there. So Jeffrey, who is your favorite pickup out of this list?
Chase Claypool, 7 receptions, 110 yards, 3 touchdowns in the air and 1 on the ground. He had potential.
Yeah, well, all those touchdowns will do it for you. I mean, he looked absolutely amazing. Definitely the best pickup of the week for wide receiver, obviously. Alexander Mattison is the best pickup if Dalvin Cook is out. All right, let's go into the tight end position. All right, the tight end position. My number 1 pickup, Robert Tonyan. He looked absolutely fantastic 2 weeks ago. If he's still on your waiver wire, scoop him up. He was probably grabbed, but I figured I'd let you know just in case. Another one, Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham's also owned in a lot of leagues, but it's good to know whether or not he's out there because a lot of people did drop him, and he's not terrible. Next, we have Irv Smith Jr. He looked pretty solid for the Vikings, and Drew Sample is pretty solid as well. He's the tight end for Cincinnati Bengals. All right, that's enough on tight ends. On to the next one. All right, up next, we have the quarterback position. And at the top of my list, it's got to be Andy Dalton. And I bet you're wondering, why Andy Dalton? Well, unfortunately, Dak Prescott had a terrible injury. He got carted off the field. Clearly, he had a compound fracture of his ankle. It looked horrible. Took the air right out of the stadium. You never want to see anything like that. I personally do not like the Dallas Cowboys, but I love Dak Prescott. Dak was a good dude. He was on a franchise tag, so he doesn't have any guaranteed money after this. He doesn't have a guaranteed job at all. Dallas is saying all the right things. They can't wait for him to get back and all this stuff, but it really just makes me sad. He was on a historic season this year, throwing crazy amount of yards, like 400 yards a game. It's been insane. And for him to go down like that, it's been very sad. It's football. They play a dangerous game, but you hate to see stuff like this. But needless to say, I am here to advise you on fantasy football. And when one great, amazing player goes down, brings up opportunity for someone else. And Andy Dalton is the backup for Dak Prescott. And he looks good. I think that Andy Dalton's going to be pretty solid. They brought him in and they paid him $3 million guaranteed money. And Andy Dalton's led an offense. The Cincinnati Bengals, he brought them to the playoffs a couple times. And they didn't have anywhere close to as much talent as the Dallas Cowboys. They have 3 amazing wide receivers and a running back that's top 5 easy. If not top 3, top 2. So, I think that he's going to be my top ad for sure. If you need a quarterback, he's incredible. Next, Kirk Cousins played great this week against Seattle. He's going to play against Atlanta next week. Love him. Next, we have Ryan Fitzpatrick, who did work against San Francisco last week. Gardner Minshew's been looking good. You can add him. Teddy Bridgewater's been pretty solid. I think that he's a nice add. And Justin Herbert looked fantastic against New Orleans. So I think you can add him as well. I think that's going to do it on the quarterback situation. Geoffrey, do you have anything that you'd like to say?
After week 4, Dak Prescott was on pace for 6,760 yards and 48 touchdowns. This was a truly devastating injury.
Wow. Truly on pace for a historic season. Breaks my heart to see Dak go down like that. Get better soon, Dak. All right, on to the next one. All right, and last but not least, we have defenses. And on the top of my list, the Chargers. The Chargers are going against the Jets. Anyone going against the Jets, you should be playing. Follow the bad offenses. Picking defenses isn't that hard. That's why the next one I have is Miami Dolphins. Miami is actually playing not terrible. They were playing against the 49ers last week and held their own. They're not the best play in the world, but out of all the waiver wire selections, pickings are slim. Another terrible matchup, but if you're desperate, you could play them. Giants versus Washington. I think you can play Washington, and I think you could probably play the Giants. They're both playing pretty terribly. So, worst comes to worst, you can play those two, but the only defense that I actually like out of this group, personally, the Chargers. That's why I've been picking them up everywhere a week early, and I've been telling you too as well. Hopefully you've been listening. Kobe Bryant was the definition of hard work and dedication, and I think that that's what you need in your personal life. Anything that you want to do, go after it, and go after it with 110%. And if somebody says you can't, just work as hard as you can to prove them wrong. But not for them, for you. Kobe Bryant is and will always be my hero. Mamba Nation lives on. The Mamba mentality will never die. And as the late, great Kobe Bryant would say, Mamba out.